Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today, Windsor Mayor Drew Dilkens is joined by Shawna Boakes, the City of Windsor Senior Manager of Traffic Operations, and Jeff Hagan, City of Windsor Transportation Planning Senior Engineer. In a moment, Mayor Dilkens will provide opening remarks, followed by a presentation by Shawna and Jeff. We will conclude with questions from the media. Panelists, please turn your microphone on when speaking, and media members, please use the raise hand function to request a question at any time. Once the presentation has concluded, media members will be called on to ask your questions and your microphone will be enabled. Thank you for your attendance and participation today. I'll turn things over to Mayor Dilkens to start us off. Go right ahead, Your Worship.
Well, thank you very much, Dana. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. And I'm really pleased today to be joined by City of Windsor Senior Manager of Traffic Operations, Shawna Boakes, and Transportation Planning Senior Engineer, Jeff Hagan, to share details about a number of positive initiatives that are taking shape to improve traffic safety, traffic calming, and enforcement in our community. Now, of course, road safety affects each and every one of us every single day. In fact, some of the most frequent feedback that I hear from residents is related to our roads and transportation, and especially the need for traffic calming. And that is why modernizing Windsor's traffic infrastructure to make our roads safer, better connected, and easier to navigate is among City Council's top priorities. Now, over the next 10 years, we are investing about $1.7 billion in public infrastructure renewal. About 40% of that is budgeted towards upgrading our roads and transportation, all while keeping the municipal levy less than half the rate of inflation. And our plan is certainly delivering results for Windsor residents by ensuring we maintain our roads and transportation planning to the highest standards. Now, technology, of course, is an effective traffic management tool, and it really is vital to supporting a safe transportation system for all travelers. Earlier this year, we installed red light cameras at 10 intersections throughout the city. And I'm here to tell you today that our red light camera system is going live starting this week. In fact, I believe the first ones are online already today. But by the first week of January, all 10 intersections will be in full operation to help enforce all of the traffic laws. So soon I'll pass the floor over to Shawna. She will provide more details on the red light cameras. But first, I wanted to mention a few other intelligent traffic management systems that we've put in place to improve safety. The traffic operations team has purchased 55 new CCTV cameras, including state-of-the-art 360-degree cameras, to expand traffic coverage at intersections citywide. These CCTV cameras help engineers monitor traffic flow and allow them to modify signals in response to real-time events. By March 2022, the number of CCTV traffic cameras in Windsor is expected to increase by more than 60% to 200. We are also piloting new technology that allows our traffic signals for the first time to detect pedestrians, cyclists, and other travelers who use different modes of active transportation when they enter an intersection. And Shawna has a video to demonstrate how this new technology is going to support our future transportation planning. Jeff Hagan is also here, and he's on his second day of vacation, no less. Jeff, thank you for being here. And he's going to provide an update about the many progressive traffic policies Council has put in place to make our roads safe and accessible as we continue to raise the quality of life for residents and, of course, to make our neighborhoods more livable and safe. So with that, I'd like to hand the floor over to Shawna now to give more details about the new traffic safety measures that we've launched in Windsor. And Jeff will provide an overview of the traffic calming initiatives underway. Take it away, Shawna.
Thank you, Mayor Dilkens, and good morning to everyone. I'm very excited to be here with you today to talk about some of the initiatives that the Traffic Operations Division has been working on and will continue to work on in 2022. The first of those initiatives being our new traffic technology, our detection technology. With a fundamental change from roadways servicing vehicle traffic only to the new active transportation users, our detection system needed an upgrade. We spent over 1 year evaluating different detection technologies, and after extensive testing, we are proud to announce a partnership with the GetGo Incorporated and to begin installing the Iteris Vantage Next technology. This technology is proven to have high levels of accuracy when it comes to detecting our active transportation users. Testing was done in the city here using motorcycles, bicycles, scooters, thanks to Bird, and pedestrians with high success levels. This short video is an example of how that system works. Our first system was installed in 2021 at the new intersection of Lozon Road and Spitfires Way, and 15 locations are planned for 2022 installation, and installation will continue over the next few years. The next safety tool that I would like to talk about is our red light camera program. After 1 year of work, we're ready to see our first locations turn live this week, with the remaining locations coming online very soon. This enforcement tool is used across Ontario to supplement police enforcement by issuing tickets to those vehicles running red lights. The intent of the program is to change driver behavior and to reduce the number of side impact collisions across the city. Tickets are issued to the owner of the vehicle as opposed to the driver, and they are issued from the processing center in the City of Toronto. The cameras are triggered by movement, and photos are taken after the light is turned red, showing the vehicle both at the stop bar and in the middle of the intersection. More information is available on the city's website, including all 10 locations and how the tickets can be paid. Finally, we're thrilled that we had over $500,000 worth of investments in 2021, and the city was able to upgrade our traffic monitoring system. A new state-of-the-art system was installed at the Traffic Operations Center here at the city, and we continue by installing additional cameras in the city. We had 50 existing cameras, and we purchased an additional 55 cameras, and these new cameras are 360-degree views digital cameras. 13 of those will be replacing existing cameras that were in the city that have reached the end of life, and 42 new cameras have been installed at intersections. In 2022, an additional $400,000 investment, in part from provincial grant funding, will allow us to even double that number of locations and make some upgrades to our fiber system. This system will allow our signal staff to monitor and make real-time adjustments to the signal system in order to increase safety and traffic flow in the city. At this time, I'd like to pass the presentation over to Jeff Hagan from our transportation planning team, who will highlight some of the traffic calming initiatives that the city is working on.
Thank you, Shawna. As Mayor Dilkens mentioned, traffic issues are something that we hear quite a bit about from residents. And with the 2022 budget, Council has provided additional capacity to help us respond to residents' concerns around traffic. Beginning with 2 new positions. The active transportation engineer position is new. This was identified in the active transportation master plan, and this will expand our ability to design and build bikeway and traffic calming infrastructure. Another position, the transportation planning coordinator, this was brought on as a temporary position in 2021 to help with our traffic calming workload. But this was made permanent in the 2022 budget, and this will help to continue increasing our capacity to deliver traffic calming to neighborhoods. We have a number of traffic calming projects underway. In the 2022 budget, Council approved funding for traffic calming on Drouillard, and this is going to be constructed in 2022. We've recently had public meetings for traffic calming projects on Kildare and Paulette. Right now, we're receiving public feedback for both projects, and we'll be going to Council with a recommendation as soon as the feedback period ends. In addition to that, we have traffic calming plans currently under development. Public meetings will be happening for these early in 2022, and you'll receive notices for these if you live in these study areas. So on Matchett, South National, Grand Maris, and there's a list of others that we will be developing plans for as the year goes on. Some new features in our policy that Council approved this year as well will help us respond to resident concerns. These are being rolled out now, and you should see more of them in 2022. First is expedited temporary traffic calming. This is where temporary traffic calming measures can be installed as directed by ward councillors. And this allows us to quickly respond to resident concerns and deploy measures to address issues immediately rather than having to wait through a long process. We've also brought in a new arterial speed control program, and this addresses speed management on major roads, which is something that our previous traffic calming policy didn't address. So a lot of the complaints that we get, concerns about speeds, are on our major roads, and this will directly address those concerns. We also have bikeway traffic calming as a program under the new policy. where traffic calming is used to create safe and comfortable routes for cyclists. And then coming soon, something that we were directed by council to prepare is a petition process for streets to get speed humps if supported by the majority of residents. And this was something that was directed by council, and we'll be coming back with something for council's consideration in early 2022. Now, along with this, we've really expanded our road safety program. Council adopted the Vision Zero policy in 2022 and endorsed the goal of 0 fatal and major injury collisions on Windsor streets. Right now, we're working on the action plan to make this goal a reality. So the strategic priorities under the plan went to council earlier this year. These are things like speeding, impaired driving, pedestrian and cyclist collisions. And right now, our task force is developing initiatives under each of these priorities to accomplish the goals of Vision Zero. The completed action plan is going to be coming to council for approval in early 2022. Now, supporting all this work are a number of new data tools, and these are all things that council endorsed with the 2022 budget. And these are really important tools to increase how responsive we are to resident concerns and to really provide us with the tools to provide quality services to residents. First is a service called Streetlight Data, which does not use streetlights as a bit of a confusing term, but it gives us traffic data like speeds and volumes and the origins and destinations of traffic citywide going back several years. This is something that was used as a stopgap for us when traditional data sources weren't available because of the pandemic. When traffic patterns were disrupted, we couldn't go out and do a physical count to see what conditions would be like normally. So that's why the tool was brought in the first place, but we quickly saw the value of it in helping to make us more responsive to residents. Before the pandemic, collecting traffic data on average took about 4 months, mostly because there are periods of the year where we can't collect data. And now we can review requests within about 3 weeks of receiving them. We recommended that we continue with a subscription on an ongoing basis, and councils saw the value in that and approved the request. Another tool that has great potential to improve safety in Windsor is a tool called Safety Insights by Ford Mobility. And this is a safety data tool that uses not only traditional collision data, but also safety-related data from Ford connected vehicles. And it can let us see hotspots for things like hard braking, hard cornering, other safety-related metrics that your own vehicle is measuring now. And then we can correlate that with the collision pattern. And for Vision Zero, this is going to be tremendous because it'll let us see the impact of road safety countermeasures much more quickly than with collision data alone. Typically, if you're looking at just collision data, we have to wait years after we've made an improvement to measure its effect. Now we'll be able to see that in months instead of years. Now, Invest Windsor Essex paid for our first year of subscription, and it's been a tremendous value to us, and council approved the second year as part of this budget. So a lot of exciting things going on, increasing our capacity to do more for Windsor residents and to make us more responsive to resident concerns. Now I'll turn things back over to Mayor Dilkens.
Thanks, Shawna. Thanks, Jeff, for the presentations. And I look forward to receiving the final Vision Zero recommendations at council next year and taking the steps that are required to make sure that we do what's necessary to keep the road safe and accessible for everyone and keep our families safe. And again, I hear you. We hear you with respect to requests for traffic calming. City Council put $1 million in the budget immediately to try and deal with traffic calming requests. Jeff talked about the approval in the last budget with respect to Drew Road and the traffic calming that will happen there. And there are many other places I know that are looking for this, and there are tools available that Jeff talked about. And so with respect to the traffic red light cameras, let me just say that the goal here is to actually make them live on January the 1st. And so there shouldn't be any guessing, free and fair warning. You've got at least a week now. We'll publish all of the intersections so that there is no surprise to anybody. And don't forget, each of these intersections also is well signed. So we're not trying to hide the traffic cameras. They are each signed, telling you that the intersection has a red light camera in effect at that particular intersection. And so we just ask people to please follow the rules of the road. If not, the camera is going to take a picture and going to send you a bill, and the bill is expensive. It's over $300 for infractions under this act. So please be compliant, and the goal here is to gain compliance and to have people follow the rules of the roads. And these intersections were chosen specifically because of the incidents in place. They weren't random. They were chosen because of the data that's already in place with respect to tickets and infractions at those intersections. And we're trying to make them safer for everybody. So please follow the rules and know that January 1st is the time frame that we're looking to put them all in motion and start issuing tickets on the 1st of January 2022. With that, I'll turn it back to you, Dana, to take any questions from the media.
Thanks very much, Mayor Dilkens, and thank you, panelists, for the presentation. At this time, members of the media, if you are interested in posing a question to the panelists, please go ahead and use the raise hand function in Zoom, and you will be called on to queue for a question. The first comes from Rich Garton at CTV Windsor. Rich, please go ahead, enable your microphone.
Good morning, everyone. I think the first question I have would be for one of the traffic engineers. In regards to the red light cameras, would these also pick up things such as rolling stops on red lights?
No, the cameras will take two exact photos. The first photo is with the vehicle at the stop bar, and the second photo will show where the vehicle is approximately 1 to 2 seconds after that. So if the vehicle is in the middle of the intersection at that second photo, then the system will make the assumption that somebody has run a red light. If the vehicle is only a couple feet in front of or at the stop bar still, the ticket won't be issued. So right turns are very difficult if somebody is rolling through a right turn for the cameras to be able to identify. So that being said, if it's a clear definition, the POA officers reviewing the tickets will issue, and if it's not clear, then they won't.
Okay, thank you. And what's the exact cost of the ticket?
$325.
Okay, and is that issued by the province?
It is issued by the Joint Processing Center in the City of Toronto. They process all red light ticket infractions for the Ontario municipalities. However, the tickets are paid locally at the POA office here in the City of Windsor.
Okay, and maybe one more before I open it up to others here. You mentioned speed control. Would that include measures such as, I don't know what the technical term would be these days, photo radar for speeding?
We have looked at the automated speed enforcement tool in the past. It is something that a few municipalities have implemented in this past year and a half to 2 years. We do owe council a report back on the progress of that new technology in the other municipalities. So that report will be coming back to council this year, and it will be up to council if we choose to move forward with that specific type of technology. Yes.
And so, Rich, just so I can jump in on that and maybe provide perspective, I certainly don't have an interest in implementing citywide photo radar. I don't think the majority of city councilors would want to see that happen either, but there may be discrete options to implement this type of technology. And I think of on Cabana Road in front of Roseland Public School, where we have significant number of issues with respect to non-compliance, with the crossing guards being there, with people speeding through. And so that may be the type of arterial road and school safety zone where you would look at implementing that type of technology. But in terms of widespread implementation of photo radar in the city, I would say that is a no-go.
Yeah, the arterial speed control program that the council approved includes things like radar speed feedback signs. So it wouldn't be photo radar, it wouldn't be issuing a ticket, but the modern signs do have the ability to record data. So we would be able to provide that to police, and so that they can know what the speeds are like at a particular location, time patterns if there's a particular time of day that's worse. So it wouldn't result in a ticket, but it could help enforcement in that respect.
Great. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Rich, for the question. The next question comes from Rob Hindy at AM 800. Rob, please go ahead and enable your microphone.
Good morning, Shawna. Like Mayor Dilkens said, the goal is to have them up and running on the 1st. Is that for all of them, or is there be a rollout process, I guess, throughout the month?
The goal would be to have all of them ready. However, I do need to wait for the Joint Processing Center in Toronto to confirm the photos for us prior to us being able to actually activate them. However, they do have all of the systems up and running and functional. So it's just a matter of whether or not they can process things through the holidays here.
Follow up.
Has there been any test runs conducted, and if so, how have they gone?
The test runs that have been conducted have looked very good. I've seen some of the photos that that have been taken from the cameras, and they're extremely accurate.
And then one final question. I guess if anyone gets a ticket right now, a driving ticket, or they can obviously fight it. Could they fight these? This one seems tricky because obviously it's a picture and there's proof there. So if someone wants to appeal it, can they do it with this process as well?
Yes, with any ticket, an appeal process is available. That being said, the consistency of the tickets, and they are reviewed by a POA officer prior to actually being issued. So they're very clear what's on the ticket that's provided. But obviously, any challenge is an option for people.
Thanks for the question. And
Shawna, maybe you can just, because I know this will become an issue if we don't address it now, and that is with respect to funeral processions and the technology. And of course, we're working with the funeral homes, but maybe you can just talk about that generally so that the public's aware, please.
Absolutely. And because these tickets are evaluated based on the Highway Traffic Act, the Highway Traffic Act does not allow for any vehicle to proceed through a red light at all. Even emergency vehicles, they are required to come to a complete stop and then proceed. So therefore, a funeral procession, as the mayor mentioned, we will be providing some further direction and working with the funeral homes on this, but funeral processions will be ticketed if they proceed through a red light.
And so we're working with the funeral homes to identify routes from each of the funeral homes that would help them have them avoid, to the extent possible, these intersections. But just so you know that the system is not, it's intelligent, but it's not that intelligent to discern funeral traffic from other traffic. And like Shawna said, even on the police side, we're working with Windsor Police on the back end to implement a system where officers also need to comply with the red light cameras when they're on their general patrol duties. And so all of these things are being worked on behind the scenes, and the goal is to have the least amount of friction possible once the cameras go live the 1st of January.
thank you. The next question is a follow-up from Rich Garten. Rich, go ahead.
Hey, thank you again. How do these cameras, these new cameras, help cyclists and pedestrians? I noticed in that visualization you showed, it detected them. How does it help them by way of creating safer streets?
So with the current technology that we have available, obviously it was great at the time it was installed. It's just older technology, and the algorithms used to detect different types of users on the roadway is much different now. So when a bicycle attempts to or arrives at a side street where there is a signalized intersection, before they may have had to get off their bike or go up on the sidewalk to push the button in order to get a green light, or in often some cases bicycles were going against the red, which is obviously a safety concern because the light wouldn't turn for them. So these new detection technologies, they'll detect that there is a bicycle there and it will change the light. Obviously it may take a couple of seconds because it'll go on the cycle that it currently is at, but it will change so that they will have the green and the opposing traffic will have the red in order to make it through the intersection safely. Same thing for scooters, motorcycles. In the past, we have had difficulties detecting those. So this will just make it easier so that they will have the right of way.
Oh,
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
I think that's all for today. Panelists, thank you all for your participation today and for the presentation. Media members, thank you again for joining us. Mayor Dilkens, any final words?
No, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Shawna, for being here. Dana, thanks for hosting. And I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and please stay safe.
Same to you. Bye now. Thank you.